Hello everyone, my name is Savoy with ClickPro. We are an IT service provider here in Southern California. And today I'm going to go over a list of 5 reasons why you should never pay a ransom if you're hit with ransomware. The first reason is that you do not know who you're sending money to. And what you do know is that they're criminals. And you can just leave it at that. You can just stop right there. You're talking to somebody who is a criminal, or they are criminals. And if you think about it that way, if you walked up to somebody who you knew was a burglar or a thief or something like that, and would you trust them? Would you trust anything they say or anything they do? They've already revealed themselves to be people who lack scruples or honesty by encrypting your data in the first place. So there's no reason to believe anything they say from that point. There's no reason to interact with them at all. Okay. So that's number one. Another part of number one actually is that knowing that they're criminals, they might be people who are sanctioned by the United States of America. And so they might be sanctioned, and then you go off and send them money, and then all of a sudden there's a financial transaction that can be traced back to you. Then that is another issue that you're going to be dealing with all of a sudden. So you don't want to have a financial transaction leading from somebody who is who's adversarial to the United States leading back to you. So that's another reason why paying them is just not a good idea. So number 2 is there's no guarantee of decryption. So a lot of times, all the time, if you get hit with ransomware, you aren't getting hit with ransomware by the person who actually wrote the software. You're not getting hit by the person who actually sat there and coded it and created the application that attacked you. You are being attacked by the people who purchased it from others, from the hacker, from the coder. And so that person will typically buy this application in 2 different parts. One part is the encryption and the other part is the decryption. So there's no guarantee that the person who attacks you has both parts. There's no guarantee that they have the ability to decrypt. They might just have the ability to encrypt you and not have it at all. Again, go back to number 1, you're dealing with a criminal. So why does it matter? Why would they care? They don't care. So there's no guarantee that you're going to get your stuff decrypted. And I have seen this in my career. I've seen people who have paid the ransom and not got their stuff back. They haven't gotten it back. Okay. The other thing that can happen, which I'm going to list this as number 3, is even if they do decrypt your data, you pay them and you decrypt their data, there's no guarantee that they're going to fully decrypt your data. They might just do it partially. Okay. If you go and these ransom payments are huge now, they're $100,000, $200,000. If they know they can get more money out of you, which is another thing, is that when you get hit with these attacks, it's not when you realize that you've been attacked is when it's happened. Most likely they've gone in, they've done a reconnaissance of your network, and they've been in there for a while, and so they know who you are. They know how much money you make. They know how much money you have access to. They know everything about your business most likely, and this was probably a directed attack, and like I said, it's not something that just began. They've probably been in there for a while before you realize something's happened. So you're encouraging them to really hold you ransom, hold your data for ransom again, or to blackmail you again, or something like that. And that's the third point here, is that they may just partially reveal to you what they've done, and then they may partially decrypt your data just so they can come swoop back around and get you again. So that's the other thing. Okay. So number 4 is that you are encouraging criminal activity. You're encouraging criminal activity where, again, if they are, say, traffickers or something like that, or they are successful at this and they do get payments from you, then they are going to use that money to attack other people. Okay, so they're going to say, hey, this works. Here's these people in this business in Irvine, and they've just paid us $1 million or something like that. Hey, and once that happens, you've made that payment. You're on the hot list. you're on the hot list. So go back to what I said before, is that number one, they've been in your system for a while before you notice anything's happened, so they know everything about you. And this, they when they hit you up with the actual attack, when you get hit with the actual attack, then then they're already involved. They already know what they can do to you, and so you can expect another attack at some point, because they've done their reconnaissance and they know what's happening. So the fifth thing here is that that kind of goes in unison with the other ones, is, of course, like I said, with the reconnaissance, is that they have access to your data. They have the access to your data. They have access to maybe your patient data, your client information. They have your banking information. They have access to that. And so, why not do a twofer and take that information and sell it on the dark web as well? So that concern may cause them to turn around and blackmail you. They may say, okay, well, I'm gonna come back and say, next year or something like that, in a couple of months, I'm gonna say, okay, I need $300,000, or else I'm gonna publish. Look at all this data I have here. I'm gonna publish this on the dark web, and they can come at you again and again and again, or as many times as you keep on paying them. So that's the fifth reason why I say you should not pay the ransomware. Now, the ransom payment. So if you have not been hit with ransomware right now, and you're watching this video, it's important that you protect yourself. You have to absolutely back up all your data. This is your number one line of defense, is make sure your stuff is backed up, and make sure that your backups work. Make sure that they're functioning. You have to test them. Don't trust anybody don't trust any process that maybe you set up and said, okay, I set up this backup and expect that it's working. You have to test it. You have to check it and be sure. And the other thing is, make sure your security, you do a security audit on your systems. Make sure that your firewall ports, most of these ransom attacks come through insecure firewall ports on your firewall, something that was opened in the past. Maybe somebody just did it as a temporary measure. Remote desktop is the number one vector that I have personally seen. The other vector is email. And so phishing attempts, people being phished, or your employees maybe logging into something or clicking on something. That's the other vector I've seen personally. There's other more sophisticated ways of getting in, but these are the most common ways and the easiest ways for them to get in. So you can protect yourself now. You can make sure that if you do get hit with ransomware, and there is no 100% guarantee. Anybody tells you that, oh, I can guarantee you'll never get hit with ransomware, is not being honest with you, because there's ways to protect yourself, and the hackers, they get more sophisticated as time goes by, and they have a lot more time in their hands, and they're just sitting there figuring out ways around everything, around MFA, around they're figuring, biometrics. They're going to figure out ways around biometrics. They're going to figure out ways around it eventually. So you have to stay on your game, and your number one line of defense is making sure you have an accurate working backup of your systems. Okay. If you have been hit with ransomware, it is my opinion that you should not pay them. I understand that people have their reasons or the logic that they may do that, and I understand that the difficulties in the thought of maybe rebuilding your entire business. There's stuff that you can't get back or rebuild. I would encourage you to consider rebuilding. If you're an attorney, for example, and say they've encrypted all of your case files, all those case files, the case file information, that all came from somewhere, all the emails, everything that came from somewhere. And so, my opinion would be to work on rebuilding, and do not pay those ransoms. Do not pay them. If nobody pays them, these guys are going to go out of business. They'll be out of business in a month if we all just don't pay them. And so that's what I would say, and I think everyone else out there should recommend don't pay them. And I will have a checklist over my shoulder here, and it will be a checklist that you can follow. It's free of charge. You can just go onto my, it'll be a QR code, and you can just show your phone to that QR code. It will allow you to download a a checklist that I use for my business to keep my clients, to keep them secure and to protect them from these types of attacks. There's other things that can happen, and I'll make more videos on those things in the future. So, but that was just that. I wanted to get that out, and I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next video.